Hello friends, 11 June 2024, a group of people found the body of an unidentified girl inside a graveyard in UP's Bulandshahr. The girl's throat was badly as if someone has vented out years of hatred. A major hurdle for the police was that no one could identify the girl. Also, during the investigation of this case, people came across a new type of disease that has been spreading quite rapidly throughout India, which we'll discuss more later in the video. So let's dive deeper into the story. I am Sam and you are watching Crime Stories by Sam. This story revolves around two main characters, Adnan and Asma. Some 3 years ago, Asma married a man named Salim, and for a fresh start of their married life, both of them moved into a shared house in Bulandshahr's Khurjanagar locality. Basically, what a shared house means that rather than renting out the whole house to one single family, individual rooms of the house are rented to different families, along with some common space that they share together, just like flatmates. This whole shared house setup is generally targeted towards families who belong to financially weaker section. So by this we can assume that Salim's financial situation wasn't very good. Basically, Salim worked at a hotel as a daily wager, and whatever little he earned used to get spent on his family. Now, along with Salim and his wife Asma, another family who lived in the shared house was of a man named Adnan, who also lived with his wife. Financially, both Salim and Adnan were at par with each other, as they both were sharing the same house. But what actually Adnan did for a living is still unknown. One of the striking traits of Adnan was his craze for Bollywood movies. Now I know that a majority of people in India are crazy for Bollywood movies, but the level of craze Adnan had was beyond normal. Whenever he watched movies, he used to imagine himself as the main character of the movie. In real life too, he used to talk, dress and behave like his favorite movie characters. And this fascination for movies became a major clue for police in later stages of the investigation. Now, Salim used to work very hard to fulfill all the wishes of his wife Asma. On the contrary, Adnan did not even care for his wife. Between all this, one day when Salim was out for work, Adnan took notice of Asma and was awestruck by her beauty. Even though he was married, he approached Asma, and surprisingly, Asma also responded positively to Adnan's approaches. Within a few days, this whole thing blew into a full-blown extramarital affair. Salim too took notice of this budding romance between Asma and Adnan, and to save his marriage, he shifted to a different locality in the same city, away from where they currently lived. But all these efforts of Salim were defeated by Adnan's craze for Bollywood. As I said earlier, that Adnan thought himself as the hero of Bollywood movies, and someone else taking away the love of the hero and the hero not doing anything about it is not at all Bollywood type. In fact, this separation brought both of them even more closer, and they met even more frequently. This time their go-to meeting place was Kheer Khane graveyard, which was a perfect place for them to meet, as graveyards mostly remained empty and deserted. Adnan even gifted a basic phone to Asma, but being a basic phone, the voice clarity was not as good as of a smartphone. Thus, Adnan put all his life savings and gifted a 10,000 rupees smartphone to Asma. Do keep in mind that this amount was very big for Adnan, as he was already struggling financially. By now we can conclude that Adnan has gone completely crazy. Let alone gifts, this guy never even bought essential stuff for his wife, and now he was blowing out his life savings on someone else's wife, and that too to keep up with his Bollywood hero image. On the flip side, Asma was also liking this attention. On one side there was Salim, who was barely making enough for 2 square meals, and on the other side there was Adnan, who was gifting her expensive stuff. Between all this, the one who were suffering the most were their partners. Neither Adnan showed any empathy towards his wife, nor Asma showed any affection towards Salim. By now, Salim had also accepted that there is nothing more he could do to save his marriage. Adnan was a crackhead who considered real life to be a movie and himself to be the hero of the movie. And soon Asma, who was unaware of all this, was about to see the crazy side of Adnan. Basically, since a few days, Adnan noticed that Asma wasn't picking all his calls. Also, a lot of the times, Asma's phone rang busy. All this led him to suspect that Asma might be cheating on him, as she was already cheating on her husband. Now the thing that triggered Adnan the most was that Asma using the phone that he gifted to her to cheat on him only. Because as per Bollywood, no one ever cheats on the hero, and if someone does, then the hero makes him or her pay for it. Now, this cheating suspicion became a regular topic of fights and arguments between the couple. Soon Adnan got fed up with this and decided to teach Asma a lesson. 11 June 2024. Adnan asked Asma to meet him at Kheerkhane graveyard, which, as I said earlier, was their regular meeting place. But Asma was unaware that this meeting was not going to be a regular one. As soon as Asma reached Adnan, Adnan quickly snatched her phone and started checking all the calls and messages. Soon he found out that Asma was in contact with a lot of other unknown guys. All this was enough to trigger him, and before Asma could explain herself, Adnan took a knife out of his pocket and slit her throat. Within a few seconds, Asma was dead. By this we can assume that Adnan came with the only intention to kill Asma. He only wanted to confirm his suspicions before killing her. Now, as always, the graveyard was empty, so Adnan easily did the act and sneaked away from the place without anyone witnessing him. His hero mindset led him to believe that he will never get caught, but he couldn't realize that all this was not a movie but real life, and in real life crime never pays. Now thankfully, later in the day some people visited the graveyard and noticed Asma's body and immediately informed the police. But because Asma's home and the graveyard were located in two different localities, the local people living around the graveyard couldn't identify Asma. In between all this, Salim returns from work, and being unable to find Asma at home, he searches for her in the neighborhood. He ultimately fails and decides to take help of the police. When police asked Adnan about Asma's details, he disclosed everything along with the details of Adnan's and Asma's affair. Now police connected the dot and quickly figured out that the body at the graveyard was of Asma's, and most probably Adnan is the killer. Then police raided Adnan's house and found both him and the weapon. Now comes the most bizarre part of the story. When police was arresting Adnan, he did not even resisted once and accepted everything very easily. In fact, his arrest video, which went pretty viral, showed him smiling, fixing his hairs, waving at the camera as if he is some kind of hero, which in his own mind he was. But the most weird thing happened when the reporters took interview of Adnan, where he openly admitted everything. When asked about the reason for the murder, in true Bollywood fashion, he said that Asma betrayed him, and bigger the betrayal, bigger is the punishment.
बल्लू
बल्लू
हाँ
क्यों हत्या की, क्या मामला था?
क्यों हत्या करी? मोहब्बत में धोखा दे दिया,
अच्छा,
और धोखे तो देने की सजा एक ही है, सिर्फ मौत।
He even admitted that he'll do the same with his friends too if any one of them betrayed him.
तो मोहब्बत में धोखा दिया, तुमने मार दिया।
और क्या, मोहब्बत में धोखा देवे या दोस्ती में धोखा देवे, मैं तो उसे भी मार दूंगा, दोस्तों को भी मार दूंगा।
And at last he even threatens the police that if anyone troubles his family or points fingers at them, then he'll blow up their houses with bombs.
बम बनाना तो ना आता, सीख जम्मा, कोई बात नहीं, टैंकर हो जी ऐसी चीज है, सीख जम्मा, कंप्यूटर चलाने सीख जाते हैं। हाँ, तो मैं भी सीख जम्मा। घर वालों पे उंगली नहीं होनी चाहिए, उंगली उठाने नहीं चाहिए कोई भी।
This guy was a different level of crazy. He thought that whatever he is saying and doing is making him look like a cool hero. But in reality, he was the real villain. And most of you will agree with me on this. But when his arrest video surfaced online and became viral on social media, a lot of the people had a contradicting view. They were supporting Adnan and were liking his "I don't give a damn about anything" attitude. And this is the disease, or we can say trend in social media terms, which I was talking about at the beginning of the video. These days people are just supporting or following anything that they see on social media. without even digging deep into the subject. Judgments are being passed based on the face value of things rather than based on rational thinking. Social media has kind of diminished our thinking ability, and this thing is being seen all over the world, including India, which is going to be very dangerous in future. Thus, we need to take strong steps to make people aware of the pros and cons of social media to prevent any future glorification of criminals like Adnan. Now, Adnan is currently in police custody and there are some strong evidences against him. So hopefully he'll get his punishment soon. So this was all about Adnan and Asma's love come story. Hope this story will help you in keeping you and your loved ones safe. If you like watching real crime stories, then do like the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll meet you in the next one.